we just say that I am introducing people on the first one? Oh! No way! All right, everybody, welcome to episode 1 of Frankly Stoned. I'm Frank Maloney. That's Matt Stone, Frankly Stoned. And you know what, Matt? You know what I was thinking about on the drive over?
No, dude. No.
Have you seen this fucking thing on Instagram?
Well, I mean, what? There's lots of shit.
Okay, it's like, it says it's like a vegan food truck, but it serves meat sandwiches, and it's also called vegan DVDs.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard about it.
Fuck is that?
You tell me, dude.
I don't know.
I don't believe that.
I don't understand why.
For a second, it's got you written all over it.
No,
dude.
it doesn't. He was accusing me. We were talking off camera. He was accusing me of like coming up with it, so I had to show him all my fucking Instagram accounts. Yes, I run Hey Man the Sandwich Man. Mm-hmm. I have you laying it on thick on there.
Yep.
I have the Frankly Stone podcast, and you could see, and then my own. And you could clearly fucking see that I'm not involved in this at all. So
you're right. Now
I don't know what the fuck.
It's got your fucking humor written all over it, which narrows the list for me. I have my suspicions as to what's going on there. But for those people that don't at home that don't understand it, it is essentially a soon to be allegedly.
It says what, summer 2023?
Spring. No, it said spring 23.
That's ambitious.
That's what I said. Spring 23. It is a meat forward sandwich truck that supports vegans.
Vegan.
That believes that vegans are an underrepresented group in Door County society.
Yeah. And so that's like that's all we know about it. But it's really I mean, since it's come out, I've been laughing about it.
It's hilarious.
Sharing its content because I don't know what it is, but it is if it's real, it's the greatest fucking thing ever, and if it's not, it's a really good joke.
And they were smart. They knew whoever they are knew that this is something that you would latch on to immediately.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the contradiction is too ripe.
Dude, I was at the tap the other night, and I'm getting yelled at by I'm not going to name names. He's like, I know it's you. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. And like, it's hard to defend myself because it is definitely something that.
Well, they used John in the story.
But I was there with John, and then the person turns to John, and he's like, Frank's trying to tell me that he's like, seriously, man, I don't know what the fuck this is. So John doesn't even know. He's like, they got my picture from like my graduation.
Well, it's not that hard. It's oh my god.
So that's what I was thinking about on the car ride over.
Well, I'm glad you were, because I've been thinking about it nonstop since I saw that the account existed, and I want to talk to you, Vegan DVDs. Reach out,
come on the podcast,
please. Well, we can even. I mean, Dan, can we figure out a whole like new voice type thing?
Oh, fake it?
Yeah, like a fake voice, and to protect their identity. Dan's saying, yeah, of course we can. It'll be easy. So, we can protect your identity. Please come talk to us.
I mean, yeah, this is something that I think needs to happen. We got to get to the bottom of this.
So, I've had a conversation with the Vegan DVDs Instagram account.
Sure.
And I ended it, after they made their mission statement, perfectly clear to me. I told them that it sounded like it was James Beard worthy. So and that obviously, stems from our own Wickman House up in Ellison Bay getting their James Beard nomination.
Yeah.
So soon we're going to have 2 James Beard nominated restaurants.
Well, I don't know. What's this? Have you seen the memes that this vegan DVD account's been putting?
Oh, I've seen it.
How's it going to fit into the criteria that the Wickman House that apparently is hitting out of the park?
Well, okay, yeah. So it's food, it's service, it's atmosphere, and operations were like the 4 like areas of excellence that they were judged on. I mean, I think that they're not going to have any issue with all 4. Food, meat sandwich, easy. Ambiance, it's a food truck, so you put up some string lights, and some like lattice fencing, and you're good there. Operations, you just give me my food on time, easy. And then what was the other one, like staff or something? It was, I think it's something to do with staff.
I don't know. You were the one who.
Anyways,
the expert.
Whoever this person is obviously a goddamn genius. So I have full faith in them. But I was thinking about those.
Oh no, wasn't it like commitment to the community or something?
Well, that was something too, because it's also like you need to stand for something.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little bit more than just having.
So it's
good
true.
food.
Yeah, they stand for veganism.
Right. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're right.
Now, if you were in charge of a food award, the Frank Maloney Award, what would your categories of excellence be?
I don't know.
I have one.
You have one?
Value.
Dude,
value would be huge for me.
Okay, yeah, value is great.
Like
that's why you're a Taco Bell man.
Fucking A. Yeah, right. And but there's got to be there. I gotta feel satisfied with what I paid for. Mm-hmm. That is huge. I also like any place that brings you out something complimentary right away. Whether it's like a Mexican restaurant with chips and salsa, or bread, like a Texas Roadhouse. Okay. You get. So I
see where you're going.
Value, and then complimentary things before and after too. I like Andy's Candies on the check after, something. And those are the only 2 that I've gotten so far. So I'm hoping that when the Frankly Stoned award nominations go out at the end of next year, we have a couple other categories that we can judge places on.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll try to come up with some stuff, but it sounds like you just really like corporate restaurants.
Oh yeah, so also if you have any sort of like appetizer deals, would be good. Anytime that you offer something for half price when I buy something else is a real turn on for me when it comes to restaurants. So,
okay.
I mean, if you're listening, restaurants.
So he's saying Husby's needs to start doing a double bubble.
Dude, I mean, if any place brings wing night back, it's over.
Wing night is done, dude.
I know,
Wing night died in 2020 and it will never be back.
That sucks, man. That sucks. Well, that really does suck.
Maybe Wickman House could get a second James Beard Award nomination if they have a wing night.
Well, I can guarantee you, Frank, if they have a wing night or agree to bring back original industry night rules, they will get a Frankly Stoned nomination at the end of the year,
which is actually more valuable than a James Beard.
Nobody has ever gotten one before.
Does anybody know what a James Beard even is?
Yeah, right. Who is James's beard?
Yeah.
Frank's Beard
Frank's
Award.
Beard
That's
Award.
pretty good.
Here, it's a pile of shit. Good job. So speaking of unidentified objects.
What the that's a segue. Well done, sir.
Well, speaking of Ellison May, how about that? And unidentified objects.
Better.
I was reading this article called UFO was spotted over Ellison Bay, and it was funny because I saw it. They have it on the front of this week's polls.
Yes.
Yeah. And,
No, I know, yeah.
And I was thinking because Dan was telling me the other day he heard all these jets like flying over.
Well, that was the restricted airspace.
Yeah.
There were we had restricted airspace for a while during the day, right? I mean, it was like in the afternoon sometime.
So, but this dude, did you read this?
Oh yeah, and I actually know the guy.
You know the dude?
Well, yes.
Mueller?
Yeah, Ryan Mueller, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it says his name in the article, so I don't feel like we're calling him out.
No,
So he's been seeing all these UFOs over Ellison Bay. They recently bought Uncle Tom's
right.
candy store out
and
there.
He's seen all kinds of goofy shit out there.
And so much so that he called the cops. And this is interesting to me because I'm like, what the fuck are the cops gonna do against some aliens? It is like the start to every movie. Like,
well, now in his defense, he said that he wanted to do it in part to validate.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
So he called like his neighbor and was like, "You need to please look out the window."
Yeah, I saw that.
Because otherwise, like I just need somebody to like validate what I'm seeing to make sure I'm not going crazy.
And she was like the only one who was willing to talk about it. Too.
Yeah, like go on
some
record.
people aren't going on record about this shit.
They're seeing it, man. Well, but isn't
this
it
is wild?
But doesn't it make sense though? Like if you were going to see paranormal activity like that, or UAPs, UFOs, whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays.
WAPs.
Like Gills Rock, WAPs. I like that. Gills Rock would be like the spot to see it. There's nothing, there's there's very little light pollution. I mean, as compared to like anywhere else in the state, like there's very little light pollution there. You can see everything. I mean, like, of course, if there's stuff going on, like, there it is.
There it is.
It's got to be.
If there's stuff going on,
there it is.
There it is.
Look to Gills Rock, no further. Start in Gills Rock.
If you're looking for a scene, just get up to Gills Rock.
But now,
you'll find some unidentified ass pussies.
So,
out there.
but Frank,
UAPs,
what would it have taken for you to call any like police, neighbor? What would it have taken for you to see in the sky to reach out to somebody about it?
Like a bomb coming towards me? I'd probably just be sitting there like, dude, if I text my buddy, they're gonna be like, have another fucking hit, you dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know if I would ever call the cops and be like, dude, I'm seeing something like.
They're like, what's your address?
It's like going up and down in the sky, and then it's like disappearing. Could you come help me out? It's like, sir, we're gonna need to search your house.
Yeah. You've submitted.
You're gonna have to come with us.
Yeah.
But apparently, no. And here's the thing. And here's where they really get you. This is where they're trying to tempt you in. Is the sheriff's deputy, whoever they interview, is like, no. Everybody should call us if they see this.
Yes.
Don't fall for it, folks.
Well, if you do see anything, reach out to the Frankly Stoned Instagram page.
We'll come out.
We will not rat you out to the cops.
No. We'll send Spidey.
Oh yeah, easy. He's gonna love that.
But I saw 2 of them.
But yeah, I think like it makes perfect sense to me. I why, and also, why wouldn't the aliens want to study what we're doing up here? We got something going on. So, they're keeping a close eye, and they're also staying, within striking distance of the Manitowoc, or the nuclear, the nuclear facility.
I mean, it's good fresh water,
right?
I mean, you're not wrong, Matt Stone. But hey, why don't you say we get a move on here?
Okay,
and we head to our interview with our friend Paul Taylor, whose music from his new album Muds, which we're going to talk extensively about. You can hear throughout the episode and at the end of the episode. So, stay tuned for the rest of the show. This is a great interview, and we'll see you there later.
Yeah, we'll see you there later.
Does
that help? Want to do that? All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are with our good friend, Paul Taylor. Paul, thanks so much for being here for episode 1 of the Frankly Stone podcast.
I'm so happy and honored to kick it off with y'all.
Yeah, it's killer, man. So we're here promoting your new album. How do I pronounce it?
Mem Mods.
Okay.
Underscore mods.
Underscore, no pronunciation is silent.
So, you got to tell us where that came from.
Well, there's been debate amongst the three of us whether or not to cryptically not really reveal its initial seed. I don't know if I'm going to reveal it just yet.
Ooh.
Damn. We tried, Frank. We tried to grab a headline.
I could give you like 3 guesses or something.
Well, Mem is Memphis.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not.
Shit.
I'm like the foreman of the Green Jury.
So now we got to play a game show already. Let's see. It does feel like Memphis to me.
It has to be, right?
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, perfect. And mods.
Modification.
I mean, right? That's okay. Modular.
Ooh.
That's
modal.
all right. Well, those were our guesses, everybody.
He was warmer.
Who, Matt was warmer?
No, I think Frank
I don't know. It had
whatever. We fucked up
I think
anyway.
Luther had a initial folder that was called like Memphis Modulations.
Okay.
Somehow it became Mem Mods.
That's the folder. Well, it's awesome. And like you've mentioned before we got on camera here, that we have talked a couple times before on the old Landon on Thick podcast, but you've been working on this project since 2020 when the world shut down?
The entire record was made that spring and summer and mixed by the end of summer. Before I even moved up here, she was curtains, like completely done.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So why is it just coming out now?
Well, and I think I did explain this on the Landon Thick podcast, so forgive me for the redundancy, but there was a conflict. One of the members is named Luther Dickinson. He plays in a band called the North Mississippi All-Stars, and they had a record that's coming out, and they're slightly more big time than our sort of no-name off-brand.
Well,
band.
I've heard of them, so I mean, yeah.
I feel like this thing is going down on me just a little bit. But at any rate,
welcome.
so it's not the first time that subject has been brought up in a podcast that we've done. Actually,
I'm sure it's not.
Let's start the first one off with a bang.
Yeah.
I've lost my place. I'm
North
blushing.
Mississippi All-Stars.
They had a record that was coming out, so we sort of had a thing that we didn't want to conflict with that. And last year being kind of that record called Set Sail, which is a rad record. All-Stars had to do that whole tour thing, and Steve, the other guy, plays in a band called The Hold Steady, and they had other obligations as well. We were just looking for the right pocket as well, because Steve used this record to relaunch his father's record label. So he needed to have the time available from his tour schedule as well to sort of be behind that. It's a kind of double endeavor for him.
Excellent. And that's
It's called Peabody Records.
Peabody Records. Yeah.
Sorry.
Awesome. And so I know how I would describe this record, but I want to have you describe it first.
Oh, I just make the music. You tell me.
Well, it's probably because I was on an edible the first time I was driving around listening to it. Yeah, one of the legal ones, Delta
Delta 8, 10,
Delta 8, whatever
12.
the legal ones, cops. Anyway, so I was nice and high off this legal gummy, and I was like, fuck yeah, Paul's record's out, and I'm driving around, and it just felt like I wanted to be in a big ass like old Oldsmobile, like my mom used to have, big brown Oldsmobile, smoking a blunt and solving crimes.
Yeah, I love it. Detective stoner music.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
It just made me feel like,
You might have just coined a whole new genre.
well,
Yeah, I love that. I think that fits. I describe it as the music that we thought. We've all been friends and making music since we were teenagers and a little bit before that. But I describe it as the music that we thought we were making when we were young stoner kids and, jamming.
yeah.
It only took like 3.5 decades and a global pandemic for us to actually get around to making this music.
Well, what's interesting to me when I listen to it, it has such a big sound to it.
Oh.
It's crazy to me that there were only 3 guys on the record. Now, obviously, I know that you played multiple instruments on it. I'm assuming on the same track. You were playing multiple instruments.
I am. I play drums on all of it.
Yeah.
And then a bass on a few songs and guitar on a few songs. Did a lot of the editing of the record. We would send each other raw things and maybe whatever. So I would say that my role was as the drummer, some bass, some guitar, a lot of weird synthy stuff, which is actually guitar through synth pedal.
I was going to ask.
And I did some editing, and then Steve mixed it. And they both played bass as well on a lot of the tunes. And Luther played a lot of keyboards. Steve brought a lot to the table in terms of other kind of soundscape things. He's a pedal wielding master who can get really into places.
What's a Wurlitzer?
A Wurlitzer is a electronic keyboard. One of the first electronic keyboards. It's from the late 40s, 50s, as I recall. Maybe the Fender Rhodes, maybe more.
Okay.
Commonly, as someone like Herbie Hancock would play, but also there was a Wurlitzer, and it's a funkier, more mid-rangey sounding electric piano.
Okay, because I saw it on the instruments. I can't remember which one of your partners played the Wurlitzer on the album, but I saw it and I had to ask.
Yeah, it's a beautiful instrument. You should look it up. Everybody.
It had, so there were a couple tracks, especially the first one, Cosmic Catastrophe, that had
Capricorn Catastrophe.
Capricorn, not Cosmic. Well, so Cosmic was kind of the vibe that I was getting, and with a song like that, it was like Flaming Lips-esque. I heard some sounds that really had kind of some Yoshimi vibes to it, and I mean that in a good way.
I can feel that on the drum sound for sure.
Yeah, they were
interesting.
Yeah, it was sweet. But we haven't said this directly yet, so the people at home might not know this. There are no lyrics on the album. There are some voices on backing some of the songs. There's some
Steve sang on background on the second track, and that's the only vocals actually on the whole record. I was also going to say there are two other people who are on the record. It's two horn players, a guy named Mark Franklin who did the horn arrangements, and his partner, my partner. Both these guys are my family. On saxophone, they're the guys that I cut my teeth playing jazz with in Memphis. They've both taught me so much, and they've played with everybody. They were Greg Allman's horn section for the last 6 years of his life, and Art was in a band called J.J. Gray and Mofro. They've
heard of that.
They've been doing the Doobie Brothers recently and stuff. They're really miraculous horn players that also had time off. This whole record being a product of the pandemic sort of shutting down that summer of 2020. The way this all came about is because Luther, my lifelong friend who I hadn't heard much from recently, emailed me and Steve Selvage both a track, a bass track, and just asked if we wanted to overdub on it, and we both did, and it sort of simultaneously, we all joined this video messaging app called Marco Polo.
Yeah, I remember that too.
And so we wound up that snowballed into this thing where we talked every day, all day long for the next couple of months, video messaging and making this record. Basically, it sort of created this thing where we all would send each other random ideas and we would all sort of overdub. And paradoxically, as lifelong friends, we got closer than we'd been in many years, way more in touch. To this day, we Marco Polo each other at least a couple times a week.
So you're the only guys still on that app.
Yeah. Yeah. People our age. Yeah. We're like, this is useful. It's, if you watch 2001 Space Odyssey, they thought it was going to be giant television still, but you could do it on your phone, whatever. As a matter of fact, we haven't all spoken in real time or been in the same room since before this record was made. Still, the only way we've talked to each other has been that way.
I was going to say what's kind of funny about it is knowing going into it when it came out, that you guys had all done this in your separate home studios. It's kind of a hard way to describe music, but it really sounds when it comes together like it's just a bunch of guys having a lot of fun.
Very fun.
And it's contagious, and it just feels fucking good to listen to.
Man, thank you. It was a cathartic and life-saving experience for all of us. I think we would attest to the fact that it was a saving grace and a real silver lining to that year. And having a product of that we can share with our friends is really amazing, you know. And there's something about the fact that we weren't all in the same room like we normally had been. And we've spent a lifetime of making a bunch of different kinds of music together, but the bulk of it has been traditional music that we've all been steeped on from our parents in Memphis.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is a bit of an outlier because as teenagers, we've all grew up listening to dub music and funk music and jazz music and all kinds of things. But sort of, I think, especially in the case of someone like Luther, who's sort of known as a hill country blues and slide guitar player, this is a bit of an outlier for him to put out a record that's, you know, experimental, like sound collage, funk music, sort of, I guess I would say.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to describe it, as good as any, as good as Detective Stoner.
We surprised ourselves and we were having fun. And I know that I said this in a previous and laying on thick, but like it's a thing that we still come back to, is that the music making is always an artifact of the hang.
Yeah.
You have a good hang with people. And, you know, the fact that we were all able to, during that scary time, talk to each other, catch up on each other, you know, and make this music sort of like, you can hear the fact that we were communicating. And I don't know if we'd booked studio time at a recording studio and felt the pressure of like, let's invent something, if this could have ever happened.
That's,
you know.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it. And it's funny though, because it does feel almost like you did that, but you got to spend your time like piecing it together because you literally had nothing else to do at the time.
Yeah, and we could have kept tinkering with it for 3 years had we realized we were going to. But, you know, what's kind of great is it was really it was capped off, I think, by August or September. And I had already decided that I was moving to Door County
here.
as well. And when the record was over is when I started working on my solo my last New Memphis Colorways record, It Is What It Is. And I actually took all the momentum and excitement we'd had from making this record and made that record on my own, like in the next few weeks afterwards.
Fucking beautiful.
So yeah, it all just sort of like was this thing. And Luther, well, the Set Sail, the North Mississippi All-Stars record, which is Grammy nominated as Blues Album of the Year last Grammys, was a direct like energy byproduct of us guys making this record this summer, Luther has said, you know, because he's sort of, they recorded a lot of it in the same way, emailing things, and sort of the ball energetically had gotten rolling for him, I think.
Everything coming from one little spark here.
Yeah, it was just
one little Marco Polo app.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're essentially, you know, you essentially got that Grammy nomination as well.
It was mine.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Well, I do have one Grammy nom, and it is because of Luther. It's because I played washed up bass on a record, Sons of Mudboy, Onward and Upward. That everybody on it was listed as an artist. So it is rumored, and legend has it, that I'm the world's only Grammy nominated washed up bassist, actually.
Damn. And now I wish we could redo the intro, because I would have said Grammy nominee. But you know,
next time.
Grammy nominated washed up bassist.
Yeah,
definitely have to say
Further confusing people about who I am as an artist and what I actually do.
So I'm fascinated with the fact that this is an instrumental album, and as someone who's not a musician, I get really, and even as a music lover, the lyrics tend to be something that really draw me in and make a song iconic to me.
For sure.
So was this something, you know, just as far as the creative process goes, did you guys know from the beginning that this was going to be instrumental?
Yeah.
Or, okay, so it was just something that it was very clear from day one.
And no guitar solos.
That was like something you guys
we're all
talked
guitar
about?
guys. Oh yeah, we're like,
Okay.
you know what? And Steve kind of broke the rule. There's a few really good shag outs on there, but he's the one most qualified to take you to the rock and roll. This dude can just shake you to your core with real traditional rock and roll guitar playing and soloing and stuff. Tone master. But we're all songwriters. I've got records out that have lyrics and songs, and I perform regularly as a singer and a songwriter, or just as a drummer. I mean, me personally, I do a bunch of different things. Steve writes songs, obviously. Luther's a masterful lyricist and songwriter. But I think, the record sort of dictated itself that it was going to be like in the more tradition of like Booker T and the MGs as a Memphis instrumental band, or the Meters, stuff we love. A lot of this record was influenced by hip hop of the 90s. We're massive fans of everything from De La Soul and Beastie Boys and Gangstar. I mean, DJ Premier, like anything where they were drawing from vintage samples, but it became like this futuristic sound that is still the raddest thing that anybody can do, that turntablists and people do, which is just undeniably like such a high art form of paying reference to the past as well. But we took that influence and sort of brought it back into this place where we were jamming and then editing things,
Well, and I know you have like a skate pass, and there were a couple times when I was on that initial cruise where I'm like, I can almost hear like the skateboard being kicked down the road to some of the tunes. I can't remember which ones.
I hope some people have some sessions to this music. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Both Steve and I are greatly influenced by a lot of, late 80s, well, all of 80s and 90s skate culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just in punk rock, and it's just an indelible part of who we are. But we also went to junior high school and high school together, and we were in like the high school jazz band together and stuff. So, and Steve and I mean, all three of us, like basically were in our first bands together as teenagers, and we've gone off and done myriad different things in different ways.
Great things. Yeah.
Both Steve and I have drug along each other on a few various projects, but, it's interesting just that it sort of literally took the world shutting down for us to, in a way, I think that's the real story of the record, is that, and it's not that hasn't been like, I mean, there have been a lot of pandemic records released in the last few years. But that was the story of this record, was that it sort of reunited us as human beings and facilitated this musical like rekindling. Steve Selvage always talks about how we have, when you play with people for a long period of time, you get a musical shorthand. You just sort of intuitively know what people are going to do. And another take I have on the record is that not only were we video messaging and then waiting for the response of because you can't talk at the same time, but we were emailing things where you couldn't play at the same time. So there was an analog there that was mirroring the process, and you had to wait and respectfully try to play into what you thought the next person. A lot of the songs were started by me just playing drums, or Steve playing with a drum machine and adding a bass part or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you had to leave space, and getting back to that shorthand, I think that we were anticipating each other via that musical shorthand, because even though we couldn't play at the same time, like we sort of know each other's languages enough that we could imagine what each other might do. And I think that's why the results are, jammerific or whatever.
Jammerific. That's perfect for me, man.
So is there, I mean, because this was all created, digitally, just over using technology to create it all, communicating back and forth.
Sure.
Is there any possibility of a Memphis or a Mem Mods live show?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have definitely talked about it and not ruled it out. That's about the best I could say.
Yeah. Well, then you need to get those horns, though, right? I mean, because they're huge.
There's a huge part of it, and so is the electronic. And I mean, being well versed in Ableton, and a lot of the drums, that I recorded were through my processing. A lot of like Steve mixed it, but like any weird, crazy like effects you hear on the drums or anything, like I sent him the processed stem of my drums ready to go, and that's a big part of the sound. So like, a live show would involve like Ableton and triggering and horn players, and it could be like a rather epic thing.
Sounds awesome.
Or it could be three of us literally with like machines just pushing buttons, like firing samples. We've thought of a bunch of different ways it could go down. And certainly we didn't, we've sat on this record for 3 years almost now and stayed in touch and big good friends and pontificating about this whole time. The record, we really didn't know if it would get just kind of be like a tree falling in the forest. But there's been an overwhelming response, and you're not the first person who's asked that question. So I think that with a little luck, we'll figure out a way to do it. Steve plays in this band called The Hold Steady. It's their 20th year, and they are doing a lot of big moves. And Luther, I mean, he's just international and infamous, so he's on the move always. And the big question is, like, can we find time to even play maybe a handful of shows?
It'd be badass.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that there are a couple of tunes that I'm going to cover with my bands up here in Door County.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's several of them that I thought the organ trio could do, and there are a few that I'll do with my trio that I play guitar in.
Well, speaking of which, speaking of you playing up here in Door County, you recently played a sold-out show at the Door County Auditorium with Kathy Greer, right?
That's right, I did.
Yeah, damn right you did.
It was the lobby, man. The cap was 80. I mean, come on.
Whatever,
I'm not trying to
Can you just fucking roll with it, dude?
The washboard or the standard
Grammy-nominated, washed-up bass.
I'm not trying to be
Sold out, motherfucker.
No, let me tell you, I was so humbled that many people would come out to see Kathy Greer and also sit through my set. And I had envisioned the whole time that there were going to be like 15 people there. It was going to be a bust, so I really didn't do much preparation. But I did use it, strangely enough, as an impetus, like to finish like 4 or 5 songs. Because in my mind, I was going to play a bunch of new songs there. And I did actually debut. My first 3 songs was just so like courageous and stupid of me, but the first 3 songs I played were brand new songs I've never played in public at the DCA.
Love it.
And man, I was nervous. My voice was shaking. But then when I got into my regular act of showbiz, it was totally fine.
I ran into, on Sunday morning, I ran into this dude at the gas station who's a regular over at Roots. And he and his wife, he's like, do you know this guy, Paul Taylor?
Oh, God.
Heard of him before.
I'm like, yeah, I know him. He's like, we saw him at the Door County Auditorium with Kathy Greer. And my wife, I'm not a musician, but she plays the violin and she's singing. Whatever he's doing on that guitar, I don't know how he's doing it. It's fantastic.
Sweet. I wonder if I met a lady who said that she plays Bach every day and she doesn't come to that kind of concert, but she was like, but I really enjoyed that.
Oh, I wonder.
That's cool.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It was cool. I feel like a charlatan just like trying to peddle like, I don't know, whatever. It's really hard to
you're not
do
a
all that
fucking
stuff.
charlatan,
And,
I'll tell you that.
It's weird. You put yourself out on the line, and the other side of it is like I feel like I opened my diaries and took all my clothes off. When you do a show that intimate, you're just like so naked and playing some songs that had vulnerable emotions in them, and it's crazy. Like doing that, I'm like, why do I do that to myself? I should just play drums from now on.
It's fun, man. You can't tell me it didn't feel good.
It's like both.
You have to, man. Like, I mean, I would imagine you have to. Like, it's just your personality.
Compelled. But if I'm not playing a show, I mean, much to my wife's chagrin, like, I'm up till probably 1:30 every night just sitting upstairs noodling or working on music. I sort of, compulsively.
What kind of music do you listen to on a day-to-day basis?
A lot of different kinds of music.
I would
That's
imagine.
a great question. Because you are what you eat. And so I put time in with the master works of the great composers as much as I can. And I try to listen and be a student also of jazz a lot, just because I resonate with that music and love it.
But you're studying it.
Yeah, but like not like in a way that kills the love for me. I think some people wind up having to go to college and they study music and it makes them hate it.
I would imagine.
But for me, like, I'm real old and I'm never going to be super good at a certain facet of jazz music. So I listen to it and learn it out of sheer love and obsession. And I don't know, it's just pleat.
Is there a specific musician or album or even song that you listen to and it just like geeks you out as a musician as just being like so fucking cool?
There are a lot of them.
Okay. Well, can you name like one, maybe a musician, album, or song, or one of each?
Yeah. Well, Square Pusher Theme by Square Pusher is a really rad track. That turned my head around really hard when I first heard it. Gosh, man, I could go all over the place with like jazz things,
Jazz it all over.
Reverie by Claude Debussy comes to mind as something I would, say is a massive. Anything by the Malagasy guitarist DeGary, like on his first record. These are random things. I don't know.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
But that's cool as hell, because I listen to music in such a different way, where or I guess maybe it's the same, but it's just more basic, where it's just like I hear it and then it's either like I like it or I don't like it. But a lot of times I don't know why though. But you know why?
No, I don't. Dude, no, don't fool yourself, or don't stroke me into thinking fooling myself. No, nobody how much we learn know any of it. And the initial response of if it resonates with you is what's important. Period. Yeah. And like all the other intellectual like hoo-ha about music just gets in the way. Like there's a visceral connection that you make with music when it's honest and sincere and grooving.
Yeah.
And there's so many genres, you'll never get to hear all the music, but if you can open your heart to something long enough to kind of start to hear it, usually, almost all music can do something pretty rad for you. And outside of cultural and human conditions like frequencies and what they do, the effect they have on physical matter, like there are effects to frequencies and things like that. So like there's this whole other thing that like it exists outside of our human perception of it, and there's physiological results of certain kinds of music that I try to be drawn to the stuff that makes you feel good.
We've reached the stoned portion of the.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it's time to do that portion.
Yeah, no kidding, man. but I like
I thought you said that this podcast was 30 minutes long.
I'm joking. Well, yeah, but we're having fun, man.
It's going good.
Yeah. I have one more thing that I want to talk to Paul about. Do you have anything that you want to add before?
Ask him a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul. So we all have one mutual like music connection that I can think of that I'm sure you guys talked about on a previous
yes, we have
Laying on Thick podcast. So I will ask this question, hopefully slightly different than Frank did. But how awesome are the Dead Soldiers?
Oh, as people, they're horrible.
Oh, I don't care about them as people.
No, it's such a letdown to meet Michael J. Sidhisa.
I have had the lucky opportunity of getting drunk with them on their.
Then you know what I'm saying is just totally not true. Yeah,
they're the best.
They're great people. I played non-pedal steel guitar on their first record. Any steel guitar you hear on that record is me kind of faking it, trying to make it sound like pedal steel, but I just do a lot of weird behind the bar, and I think that's how my pinky got weird. Actually, was doing that stuff. But
on the first record, on all the things you lose.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Fuck.
Like some of that stuff. Like that's me.
Oh, yeah.
That's me playing that.
I remember.
And I remember recording it at Scott Bomar's Electrophonic recording studio. But I also then sort of became an auxiliary member when they needed someone. I think I played guitar and steel in that. Maybe I played bass on one song. I don't know. Clay, man, they have a dude. We've talked about them and we've talked about Levon Helm on your podcast before. Sure but like the dude that reminds me the most of Levon Helm is the bass player Clay. He has so much soul when he sings and so much conviction, and he's the real deal. And like I think on our first gig, like we all got up on stage we're ready to play. And he just fell over on me, like on our first gig. Like he just fell on me and knocked me down, man. Because those boys they're real, you know. They might have several shots, or at that point they did. I don't know.
I feel like that's almost a perfect way to wrap it up, man.
Possibly so, yeah. Well, it's fun. Yeah, I know the Soldiers like played a lot up here.
Yeah, we loved them.
Oh,
well, we still do love them.
Still love them.
We don't see him much anymore.
No,
Yeah.
get back together, please. We need to know. I mean, they have to have. I want another record so bad.
Michael has a band called The Smartest Man in the World now,
Yep.
and it's
They just put out a record not too long ago.
it's equally great stuff, and a lot of the guys are on that, and other people who are sort of part of those Memphis circles. It's funny to hear you guys talk about these guys because they're my, man, in your home scene. It's just like everybody becomes your family when you've survived several decades coming up in a city together, and I just think of them as these Memphis people, but to y'all, they're like the Dead Soldiers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they came into our bar room and went, oh, fuck yeah, there's music like this that can find its way to Door County.
It's great to know.
It was inspirational, honestly.
Oh, man.
That's wonderful, And the fact that preceded me, because I always thought that my big calling card up here would be the fact that I'd played with Eric Lewis.
Hell yeah.
But
dude,
That's cool, too.
But it turned out that you were way more impressed with the fact that I played on the Dead Soldiers.
well, I
record.
didn't go to Fishstock very often. I would go to Husby's. And
Well,
that's,
you're not 70 yet, so
Yeah, I mean, Eric is the man, but, for Drunken Barroom Band, there's no beating Dead Soldiers.
can I don't know if this thing will come out in time, but is there any way I could plug some things that I think will be happening
please
over
do.
this year?
Please do.
Further in the future.
Further, yeah. Well, if it should happen to come out in March, I know I'm playing every Friday at the Door Hotel in the lobby, and the more people I see that actually come to hear me, the less it will be background music, and the more I will start singing songs.
And what day and what time?
That's on Fridays 6 to 8.
Sweet.
As we come up into this summer, this was something I actually wanted to talk about on the podcast. Is that it's kind of crazy up here because there's one day in the middle of January where the entire season gets booked, like all bands, all venues. If you're just sitting there and your phone starts buzzing and it's like everybody, like, hey, can you do such and such?
Yep.
And the talent buyers of the venues are also texting you and they're going, and I need to know today. And it's a miracle to be included in that talent pool list, but it's also like I sort of felt like, whoa, when it was over, like I was
Used.
ambushed.
Don't even get me started.
Like ambushed, and also like really like mentally and emotionally exhausted. Because I realized that I had said after last year, which I gigged really hard last year, maybe too hard, and I was dog tired. I'm still dog tired from last summer, and like I was gonna have a mindful booking this year. And I sort of felt like it just all happened. It's like, tell me now. But anyway, having said that, it landed in some really great places after sort of things shaking out over those couple of days. I know we've got a lot of dates.
Yep.
And I'm playing this summer, let's see, starting in June. It's either the first or second one, but we'll be playing every other Monday the Lindenberg Lewis and Taylor organ trio that I play drums in, which is a traditional jazz and soul
Go see it. It's
organ
fucking
trio.
awesome.
We're playing every other Monday at the Peach Barn. We're going to be playing, at least me and Solomon will be doing every Saturday at the Alley Bar. John will be there every other Sunday, and every other Sunday he'll be playing with Terry.
6 to 8?
Yeah, I think so. Something like
that.
that. I have every other Friday at the DC Cherry Hut, which I'm super stoked about. And the first ones of the month that I do there, I will be doing solo. The second ones will be with my band. And those are basically, I think, in a nutshell, my weeklies, not discounting that I play every Tuesday at the White Gull, but I'm basically playing background dinner music there. But if you want to hear me do that, then
Go get some dinner.
I'll be
and
there
tip
every
Paul.
Tuesday as well. It's like really my meditation, spiritual guide practice.
They have a harp player that
They do.
does that sometimes.
She's
too.
on Thursdays. I'm on
Okay.
Tuesdays. Yep. And this will be my third year there, so I'm so stoked because they've really treated me like family and been so good to me there. So it's kind of amazing.
And if people want to find dates in the future, what do they follow you on Instagram?
Well, yeah,
or-
New Memphis Colorways and Memmods. This getting back to this record, which you can order vinyl or find anything at Memmods on Instagram or Peabody Records or New Memphis Colorways, which is my current nom de plume. That's a whole confusing thing that I got into in previous podcasts.
Yes, you
Go
did.
back, you can find out
Go
about
back and
those.
check it out. Well, Paul, thank you so much for doing this. Everybody go check out Ben Mod's Volume 1 and everything else that Paul's done.
You guys gonna play a track on the way out or something? Or?
Hell yeah, we're going to, I believe we're going to sprinkle some throughout the whole episode.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, welcome to a classic. We're going to play a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. Ooh. Everybody knows how to play it. I don't need to explain it. But how we're going to do it to add our little twist is Frank is going to spin this random wheel of categories here. So, and then we're going to get the guys in the studio here to pick our objects for us. So, Frank, give the wheel a spin here.
Spinning.
There's so many weird things on here. All right, it is zooming in. Oh, sports would have been good. All right, the category is
things that fly.
Things that fly. All right, so can we get something that flies?
Oh,
first thing you think of?
tufted titmouse.
A tufted titmouse. All right, that's a bird. All right, okay. Dan, what's something that flies?
Airplanes.
Airplane. Jesus. All right, that's good. All right.
Go drone.
Drone. Okay.
So we have a tufted titmouse.
Yeah.
An airplane.
Yeah.
And a drone.
Mm-hmm. For me, the kill is easy. Drone. We lose some epic photography. But I feel like the world's not going to be a worse place, without that. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm a big bird feeder guy. And the tufted titmouse is one of my favorites over there. But I think as far as just like a long-term relationship goes, like the plane is probably going to suit me more. So I'm gonna marry the plane, and then I'm gonna bang the tufted titmouse. And also titmouse. I don't need to say anymore. So okay.
Mine's similar. I mean, obviously, I'm fucking the titmouse.
Okay, obviously, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Duh. I'm gonna kill the plane.
Oh,
I don't like. I don't like flying. It's scary.
Sure. You gonna marry a drone though?
Yeah, I'm gonna marry a drone because if I have any enemies, I can just send it over, drop a bomb.
You want it on your
kill their
side.
families, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the hard thing that I might run into is killing the drones. That could be a problem for me.
Well, yeah, that drone's gonna be like, I heard you wanted to kill me, you motherfucker.
That's yeah.
Is that how they talk?
It has to be.
Yeah.
There it is. So I mean, I don't. I think you're wrong, but
Look, man, it's good to have the drone on your side. Let's
no,
just
it's
put
true.
it that way.
Yeah, no, I get it. And you're gonna get Amazon packages hella fast eventually.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. That was it. All right, we are here to wrap up the show.
Wrap it up, folks.
And we are going to end with one of our favorite games, Bar Dice. So, Frank, should we shake to see who goes
Let's
first?
see who goes first. Here.
Play along. If you have.
Hey,
dice,
how many dice is this? 1, 2, 3, 4.
We have one too many.
All right, let's put this over here.
No, but that's the same size. This is kind of different.
I see.
So
you got a big one.
Let's get this one.
You've always had a bigger one than me.
No, okay, yeah, okay. All right.
I rolled a 6.
Oy. I like that green one. I got a 5. All right, well, this bodes well, though. All right, I'm not even going to explain how to play Bar Dice, because...
We're not going to smash it too hard on this table because it's made of glass. So we have to do it like that.
I see nothing.
I see nothing, too.
Frank,
Okay, big winner.
How do you think the first episode went?
I'm pretty happy with it.
Oh, are we're playing 2 out of 3, right? I mean, this is...
Yeah, right? I mean, that's just the rules of the game.
Right.
I got a 36.
36, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun on this first episode. It's always good to see Paul. And, yeah, it was a nice first interview to have. And nice to have the fucking music from my mods all throughout the episode.
Dude, that album is so good, nothing. All right. One more.
You could have been funnier, to be honest.
Yeah, you could have come clean about the vegan DVDs thing, but, we'll save that.
I don't know what the... I get it. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's fair. The accusations are fair, but it's not me. And I wish
you
would
did.
just
You
trust
did
me.
show me your Instagram
Yeah.
account, so I believe that you are not the only mastermind.
I have nothing to do
We'll leave
with
it there. We'll leave it there. All right, horse on me. God.
But would you eat at a place called Vegan DVDs?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would. I'm sure there's going to be insane value there.
Dude, you are terrible.
We're going to farm those sixes. 46. All right, 46 all day. All right.
With a horse on you?
Mm-hmm. I feel okay with that.
This is like a recipe for horse pizza right here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe
not.
36 and 1.
Old Farmer Frank.
I have to do it.
Ooh.
All right. Is there any consequence for who loses the game, or is it just? I mean, is it just like a winner loser thing?
No, we kill the person who loses.
Okay, yeah. We'll come up with something. We'll find something. Oh, geez, and that's
my flop.
33
on the flop. 33 on the flop, folks. If you don't know what that means, go to your local Door County bar and don't
There
bother
it is.
people.
34.
34. Well, Matt Stone, congratulations. I have to do a punishment.
No, it's
that we don't
horse
know
piece.
what it is.
No, it's horse piece. Yeah,
That's
because
true.
you
Yeah,
won
yeah.
the first one. Yeah, it's horse piece now. Because I tied at 36.
Well, now we have more time to talk about what the punishment is.
What do you think?
I don't know. Loser has to intro the podcast
All right.
for the next 6 weeks.
Oh,
Ooh, 43 all day.
43. He's trying to break the table too.
I thought that was a reasonable smash.
This ain't Yahtzee, and that's not good. Well, 43, huh? You go for the win, wouldn't?
Oh, I would too.
Wouldn't you, ladies and gentlemen?
You play to win.
Well, now,
All right.
it's like I had some foresight that I would have to do the punishment that we don't know about. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning into our first episode.
We're just gonna keep it rolling.
Cool. Enjoy my minds on the way out.
Thanks. Bye.